All right, so here I am again with John. We're going to do another mentorship session as part of the Agile Institute. So, hello, John.
Hey Graham.
All right,
Uh,
so yeah, go ahead.
no, I was just saying hi.
All right, so we were talking a bit about the present situation, preferred future. That's what I like to talk about, and then get an agreement for what we're going to accomplish during this time. Present situation, things are picking up. You've in the last celebrate, you've got a job that is what you need for the moment. So we were talking about moving these to every 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think that would be best, and I definitely want to have like a plan in place to try to make continual progress and not um, lose any of the skills that I've worked to build to this point. But yeah, that I think that pace of accountability and check in would work better for me.
All right, so that sounds great. So yeah, so it sounds like the present situation is things are kind of picking up. So doing it every week is a bit too much to really have a lot to report. So the preferred future is to do it every 2 weeks, but keep some sort of action plan. So that sounds like something we can think about and accomplishes that action plan for continuing progress on your goals in those 2 weeks intervals. So what are some ideas you have for that?
Um, yeah, I think Um, the biggest focus for me during this next period that I'm kind of in with my new job, I'm going to be working just a regular 40-hour work week, but the thing it'll definitely reduce the amount of time that I have every week to work things. So I think because of that, I'm gonna have to like prioritize what I want to focus on. I think the most important is um, the open source contributions are good. Those have kind of just been held up a little bit on the back end stuff, but the main focus I'd like to continue making contributions to Mentor Hub, but then just also having like some time and focus on doing my uh, professional development and coursework that I'm working on. So I guess a little bit less of focusing on the job search in the near term, but then prioritizing just skill development and at least maintaining all my skills. That if that makes sense.
Yeah, and that actually sounds like good news because I think that's kind of been your goal all along is to have something to show for being a tech professional in the fields you're interested in. So not
Mm.
having to worry about the job search and kind of uh, what do before that piece is in the puzzle, having all these contributions and
Right.
uh, yeah, coursework completed, certifications, those sorts of things. Yeah, that sounds like really good news. So
Yeah, just to add to that, I think by continually doing it, it's not a rush to get all of those things done, but like incrementally adding to like things that I could show on my resume. Um, and I did update my resume to include the Agile Learning Institute and um, showing contributions to Mentor Hub and leading or participating in that cognitive walkthrough exercise,
yeah,
some of those things. So I think the progress can still be there. And what I'm hoping for is when I want to shift back into looking for software development positions, that I'll have more things to have on the resume, and also kind of show that there's been like continuity, um, as opposed to like a big break in like doing anything where that could maybe scare some potential employers away if they don't see any activity, any like commits to GitHub, or any professional development. So
So that sounds like a great idea there, showing Mentor Hub to fill in any gaps, because there really are no gaps. You're continually working on these courses. You're making actual contributions that you can send a link to, and yeah, so showing that's just, in my opinion, more accurate. So yeah,
yeah.
that sounds like a great idea. So like, what's a good first step towards continuing on with um, the implementation of this cycle of studying? Like, what are you really hoping to accomplish first with this action plan of studying, and what's a good step to meeting that objective?
Yeah, that's a good question. I personally feel like the first thing is figuring out a schedule. My schedule is this last week's kind of been all over the place, and it's just gonna take some specific effort to carve out some time, um, to work on stuff. So I think the first thing is just having like dedicated time frame to work on Mentor Hub, work on the the other things. Sorry if you heard my son; he's in the background.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, I think that's like the first step is, because it's a new routine. It's gonna be different doing those things, at different times of the day. So just getting into a newer routine, figuring out what times will work. So I'm not sure what the answer, or what will work best, but I think that's what I need to figure out first. Um, and then, like I said before, during that time, um, for Mentor Hub, it's just continue to work on the areas that I was working on with the uh, the topic UI, and I also, um, agreed to help with the search UI. So, and then for professional development, I've got a master front end masters course and a Udemy course that I'm working on for TypeScript, and, um, for testing, front end testing.
for like unit testing, or
Yes.
okay,
Yep. Unit tests. I think it's primarily Jest, but also V test. Yeah. So V.
okay. So regarding the figuring out the schedule, do you have any ideas for that?
Um, I think, just trial and error, really. Just trying to initially carve out smaller periods, uh, and just see how productive or how long I can, work and be consistent, make progress on those things. I'm working. My primary schedule is going to be like a second shift, so it'll be early afternoon to evening. So most of the time that I think I'll be able to work would be in the mornings, and potentially on weekends. So um, what I might want to look at is trying to do some on the weekdays in the morning, or and some on the weekend, and see what works best, if both work, or um, if one's better than the other. But yeah, we're also getting into summertime, and my kids just got out of school this week, so that's kind of a just an additional dynamic to things where they're going to be home during the day, um, and doing things on the weekend. So yeah, just another factor to consider. But I think trial and error for now, and it might not be consistent, like the day or the time, but just trying to get maybe a certain amount of hours a week towards continuing my progress.
Have you ever used a learning tool like Anki or I forget what the other one was, but it's a flashcard system, spaced repetition flashcards?
Yeah, I've used Anki. It's kind of like um, Quizlet,
Yeah.
is like the popular one. But yeah, I have used that before. It's not something I'm currently using, but I'm familiar with it.
Okay. All right. So yeah, that sounds it sounds like trial and error is kind of the way to go to find some time. So like, what's a good step for that? Like, what's the first trial you can do to see if it works or there's an error?
Um, I guess just schedule some time during this next week, and maybe try to find some time on the weekend, this weekend or the upcoming weekend, and just kind of see what will work best.
Okay.
Yeah, I can put it on my calendar, because I know a lot of times if you don't like, if you say morning, it's less likely than if you say I'm gonna do something at like 9 a.m. on Monday morning. So maybe just being very specific, and if it doesn't work out, that's fine. But trying to be as specific as possible.
All
Put
right.
it
So
on the.
what would you like to share with me next time?
I think I could give you some feedback on maybe the schedule and how that's working,
Hmm.
or whether it's working, and what's working best for that. What I've learned or found, um, and maybe some of the progress that I'm making on those courses.
Okay. Courses. Okay. So, all right. So, yeah, I wrote that down in the now scope. Yeah, I've actually moved some other things to celebrate it too. You mentioned that you made the updates to the resume. That's actually something we had on the now scope last time. So I crossed that off and moved it to celebrate. The Mentor Hub contributions, yeah, great work. That belongs in the celebrate. And yeah, so now the now scope I've got, yeah, we're going to try out 2 weeks. So I'll update the invite, and you should get that after this. And then, yeah, we've got a list of priorities, Mentor Hub, coursework for professional development, um, and then, oh, I've actually got 3 and 4. Okay, well, I'll just remove 3 and 4 because they were confusing me. 3 and 4 were what we talked about, such as building out content to put on a resume. But I actually got confused reading that, thinking that the job search was ongoing. But it sounds like at this point, it's really about developing skills and really not about doing a job search. So I removed those. And then I guess the big one is finding the time. You've got obligations, 40-hour week, families, schools no longer in progress. So trying to make that work. One thing I will say for that is I'm not sure how useful my own anecdotal experience is, especially as someone who uh, doesn't have a family and didn't have, yeah. So, but I just want to say for me, like what really worked was hacking the worker mindset. So like if I could do something for half hour and a half, 2 hours right after work, and like go somewhere right after work, I was still in that worker's mindset. Like I'm on the clock, I have to be checked in, engaged, and I could
Mhm.
just easily apply that to something other than work.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. So you just do it stacked right on to the end of your workday.
That's what worked for me because when I went home, it's like I'm at home, I'm done, I can finally relax. And trying to study in that kind of mind space is like, oh, well, I don't want to study because it's hard. I'm relaxing now.
Exactly. So you said you went somewhere else, so you weren't at home physically.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm kind of preach, if there's randomized control studies, go with like what is studied and proven. So, like the
Hmm.
flashcards, doing flashcards, I would definitely recommend. But uh, my own experience has been, for what it's worth, and this was outside the context of tech as well. I'm one of my hobbies is juggling, so it's hard to find the time to do that, even without uh, family obligations. It can be hard to fit that in sometimes. So, if I
Hmm.
went to work, I went home, and then I wanted to go juggle after dinner. After I went home, I just couldn't bring myself to do it. It was like I'm home. I'm
You're already in
disengaged.
relaxed.
Yeah, I shut down already. Like I'm not willing to work anymore. I'm done with work. So
Hmm.
for me, if I went right from work right to the gym, I could get an hour practice session in every single time because I wasn't out of that worker's mindset yet.
Hmm. Yeah, I like that idea. Yeah, maybe something to try.
Awesome. All right, so yeah, that's so we've got some good stuff in there. You know what? We've got like 11 minutes, and the transformation part of the coaching wheel is kind of the awkward one for me. But I feel like a lot of good can like come out of that. So I want to spend the last full 10 minutes on that. So the generic question: how are your discoveries making a difference? But it's about transformation. It's about really getting to that preferred future through the things you're discovering. So one thing we talked about is you're doing these courses. You're learning about Jest, V-Test. So like, what did you discover that like put you on the track to finishing those courses?
Um, well, the things that put me on the course to finishing those or even starting them was that um, they seem to be common things that were showing up on a on a lot of job application or job postings, and they were areas that I didn't feel super strong in. So um, I just wanted to do a little bit of coursework, and then I think also I had plans to add testing to the front end on Mentor Hub. I think Mike mentioned maybe using Cypress or Selenium, um, but a lot of the testing tools are very similar, and so I was also just taking um, the testing course just to get some more exposure and prepare me so I could better implement some testing when as part of building one of the front end microservices. But yeah, that's kind of what propelled me there. TypeScript also was one of those things on resumes, and I'm not sure exactly what I didn't build the topic UI in TypeScript, but it's actually something I could refactor because TypeScript is just a superset of JavaScript. So you can add TypeScript to JavaScript and then just slowly add types to it. So that's potentially also something I could do to Mentor Hub on one of the UIs to apply that learning. So, I mean, I enjoy doing the coursework, but I think, and maybe this is like a takeaway or a learning moment, like you're asking about, is that with a lot of this learning, there has to be some sort of application, or else it'll just kind of disappear. So the the courses are a way to familiarize myself and then apply those skills immediately as a way to like further solidify what I've learned.
Okay, great. So yeah, so reverse engineering job posts. That sounds great. Could you tell me more about like what what the job posts like say about these skills? Do they want certifications? Do they want years of experiences? Like what what are you seeing on job posts that led you to discover this line of education?
Yeah, it's not always the same kind of requirement. Like I said, I think a lot of them are using like different test libraries, but I think consistently is asking for experience in one or more testing libraries. So I think that was kind of the consistent thing. It really wasn't, I don't know that there was, it wasn't a certification. It was more like experience with testing X, Y, or Z um, type of library. And so the sooner I can implement it on a project, uh, I can add that as something on my resume with like not just learning about the testing library, but like I've learned about it and added tests to this project, this thing. So, but yeah, there sometimes it mentions like how much experience, like 1 to 2 years of testing experience um, with a certain library, but I think that's about the extent that I remember from most of the job postings that are just experience versus like any sort of certification.
Yeah, that sounds great. Is there anything about automation of this? Do you have any thoughts about that?
Um, there, I mean, I guess that's getting into the realm of DevOps, right? And um, or automated testing. Um, I've seen automated testing, or maybe different types of testing, like unit tests or end-to-end testing. But those are kind of, I guess, not as consistent across the board. So yeah, I don't really know if I've seen a ton about automation in the postings that I've looked at.
Okay. Um,
Are you talking about like deploying
Yeah,
code.
I'm actually having a side conversation with ChatGPT about this topic. So one of my favorite prompts is evaluate this claim blank. So I evaluated the claim that experience in testing libraries is a high demand skill, and the claim is well supported by various factors. And one of the things it is saying that is that there's especially an emphasis on automated testing in modern development practices. So, a pretty lucrative career opportunity. Yeah, DevOps is came out listed there.
Yeah, that's I think definitely a area that I could look at in the future, and I would see, these initial implementation of different tests and testing libraries as a foundation to move into like automated testing. But yeah, that's good information as far as that being an important skill.
All right. So yeah. Um, so um, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Part of this conversation I'm having here. Another really good prompt that I like to give it is create a tier list of fill in the blank. So I said
Mhm.
create a tier list of testing frameworks, include Jest and VTest on the list. S tier is Jest. So yeah, extremely popular, extensive features, built-in mocking, coverage reporting, snapshot testing, easy integration with React and other JavaScript frameworks.
Yeah, and just came up. Yeah, and that was one of the reasons why I'm looking at this one because of its integration with React.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like you're discovering some of the most high demand uh, skills, and you're
Hmm.
working towards being competent enough in them to uh, contribute to projects like Mentor Hub, to be able to talk about them and brag about them at job interviews. So that sounds like a pretty important discovery. What are the uh, things that are in demand and valuable? And yeah, actually, could you talk a little bit more about that in the last like minute or so?
Um, about finding out what's in demand.
I get. Well, let's just be a bit more general, because we're at the end here, so kind of keep it brief. So just basically, more about transformation discoveries making a difference. So just some general like
Yeah,
seem to sum up, kind of where you're at.
yeah, I think I understand what you're saying. So, yeah, just the takeaway that learning that after, looking at so many job postings, you start to see the same kind of technologies or tools come up, and um, trying to make those a priority in my skill set so that I come across as a viable candidate with the right set of skills and experience.
Okay, but it sounds like the main thing is with everything going on, family, new job, finding a way to continue your work, contributions, studying is going to be important going forward to the next session. And yeah, I recommend trying to hack that worker's mindset and so because context shifting is a big thing too. If you go from work to home, family dinner, you shifted the context a lot. Whereas if you go from work and even just spend maybe an extra 15 minutes at work or something like that, that's kind of what I would recommend. But take it with a grain of salt, and I'd say Anki flashcards are more important.
Okay. Yeah, I'll look at those and try some different things, but appreciate the suggestions a lot.
All right. So yeah, I'll stop recording.